think we're ready to go. Let's see if all your mics work. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. This is Town Council, Town of Alpine Town Council meeting, special meeting on November 6th, 2024. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks, Monica. You can just pass those down.
That's a two-page thing, so pick one and pass it.
Okay,
Yes,
we're ready
sir.
for roll call, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Councilman Larson.
Here.
Councilman Dickerson.
Here.
Mayor Green.
Here.
Councilman Castillo.
Here.
And Councilman Burchard.
Here.
Mayor Green, you have a quorum of the council with all members present.
All right, thank you. Did you say there was 2 pages on
Yes,
this?
sir.
Okay. Did Chairman get one?
Yep.
So there's a front and back there. So everyone should have those recommendations. All right, has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
All right, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded by Mr. Dickerson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we're working off this agenda. First things first, I wanted to congratulate the people. We had a big election yesterday, and the town of Alpine had a small election, but big for us. But anyways, congratulate Shay and Andrea for winning again, and also Joe for being participating and putting yourself out there. We really appreciate it. Look forward to working with Shay and to keep working with Andrea. So yeah, good things are, we've got a lot going on, so we anticipate a lot more good work on everyone's part. So just wanted to say that first of all. The first action item we have on there, let me scroll up real quick, is the town welcome signs. And there's not much to talk about here, other than we have received some versions of the sign, and it's not exactly what I was thinking of. So I'm going to work with Melody and see if we can get something a little bit closer to what I was thinking of, and then we'll present them all and let you guys, kind of pick which ones you like most. But at this point, I don't think we need to table it or anything, but I just wanted to give you guys an update. So does anyone have any comments on that? We'll start, you'll hopefully see it soon. But yeah, we want to keep up the momentum on that and maybe be able to break ground on those in the spring. So with that being said, we're going to move right on to the RFPs for. First one's going to be the wastewater and water systems. This is basically the impact fees. And what my plan is, and hopefully everyone agrees with this, is that once we get the motion on the table, we can start to discuss them. I'd like each council member to kind of weigh in, give their pros and cons, and maybe see if there's one that they would prefer. And then if we don't really have a consensus, then what we could do is basically make a motion to have another, almost a hearing, a public hearing, so we could invite the final 2 or all of them, if that's what we decide, to come and speak, and we could ask them any questions. But tonight, I wanted to see if we could get consensus, and if not, make sure that we have the applicants an opportunity to get their, for us to ask them questions. So if that sounds all right, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to award the Town of Alpine a development impact and capacity fees study and analysis and authorize Mayor Green to sign and manage the contract.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Discussion. So, does anyone want to go first, or do I need to pick somebody?
I can go first.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I like Sunrise. They are very familiar with our infrastructure already. They've done a lot of work with the town. They're very, very familiar. Our Public Works Department has done a lot of projects with them, and that's also who Craig and Melody have referred. And I think they're on track with that.
Right.
I think their price is good, and I just think it'll be really efficient because they're already so familiar with us. It'll save some time and possibly some cost.
Right. I'll go down the line here unless you wanted to,
Oh, no, I was just trying to find, for me, I think one of the aspects that was important was the legal aspect. I'm just trying to find what Sunrise's description of, but I'll just pull Raftalis just on the offset. They had, let's see, we developed legally defensible impact fees. One of Raftalis's specialties is impact fees. We regularly complete these studies for several states in the West. The development of impact fees goes beyond a simple calculation. Rather, we understand the delicate balancing act of recovering costs while fostering development in a thriving community. I thought they had gone more into the legal end. With our services, you are investing in reduced risks, less rework, and higher compliance with industry standards. The potential pitfalls of choosing less experienced consultants can lead to costly mistakes that we help you avoid. To accomplish this, we believe in exploring all ideas and collaborating with you to identify the most actionable and politically viable solutions that serve both the utility and its customers. I'm going to mispronounce their name, but Tischler Bies had mentioned how they luckily had not had to be in too many situations to defend their impact fees, but that the legality is something that needs to be considered. Mhm.
is there any other thoughts you had on the other?
I do like our department's feedback. I very much appreciate it. I like that Sunrise is already involved and was chosen by our state for a lot of our water studies. So I think that having that information is a big pro. I know that they had been implementing Afton's impact fees, and in speaking with Violet, she has been very happy with their performance. I just like the idea of kind of having an outside voice and also taking into account, I had talked to Raftalis as well, and they have so much municipal experience. So that was something that was impressive to me. They're just a fresh set of eyes. But really, for me, I think that was one of my top choices because of the legal aspect.
Okay. Councilman Dickerson, do you have some thoughts?
Yes, I mean, you said we've been working with Sunrise and they're the least expensive, but these other two the other two companies, I mean, they're all very well qualified, but I don't know, I'd probably vote for Sunrise, but.
So the familiarity
Yeah.
aspect for you, right?
It'd be nice, I don't know, it'd be nice if we had a public hearing too, and hear these, you know, if these guys
Yeah.
wanted to come.
I didn't see them mention, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see them mention any other service fees. It was either Tischler, Bies, or Raftalis that had mentioned a 1% road service fee. It was just interesting to see some other ideas for recouping those costs of infrastructure. So I liked that they had made
didn't see the
suggestions.
1%.
Hold on, it might have
it?
been on Raftalis. See, I highlighted it. Yes, okay, under City of Casper, the city has an ongoing capital repair and replacement program. And to ensure that revenue from rates was sufficient to meet these increasing expenditures over the 10-year study period, the city receives a 1% streets tax to assist with funding.
Raphtalis developed a financial plan, cash flow, that would assist the utility in continuing to fund expenditures without resulting in rate shock to its customers. And I know Sunrise has experience with rates as well. And then Raphtalis had SIFs, SIFs, I had never heard of that before. The city has a water SIF to recover the cost to connect to the water distribution system, and 2 wastewater SIFs. These are investment fees, one to recover costs of the collection system and the other for the regional wastewater treatment plant. They evaluated the utility system assets, outstanding debt, and equivalent connections to develop the fee. So something interesting. And they had the citizen rate committee involvement as well. So I think whichever one we choose, those are some really good suggestions to implement.
Yeah.
They're not too much more expensive than Sunrise.
No, I think it was.
No, in fact, they're
really
less unless you opt into their, it says total including optional task 3, financial plan cash flow analysis. Without that task, they'd be $24,385, which is less than Sunrise.
Yeah, and I think Sunrise, there includes some of that, especially the, that's optional test 3.
Oh, yeah, would you like to, whichever one, however you want to do it, but we can pull up their fee schedule as well to see if
Yeah.
all of that was already included in their base. I can't find it.
Councilman Larson, do you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty much, from what I could decipher, they all have their pros and cons. I'm kind of on the side of Sunrise. We've worked with them before. We know where we're at with them. They know where they're at with us. They've done the TAP grant. They're already working on our water. And they come in below our budget.
Just to clarify, what is our budget
What
on
did
this?
we set as a budget?
I thought I saw $30,000,
Did we pass-
35,000.
Did we pass that?
There was no money in the budget for this. The budget will have to be amended depending on what our expenditures are. But when we created the budget, there was no money in the budget
For
for
this
for this.
particular, yeah.
However, when we had the one consultant meet with you in work session, they did indicate that the cost of the study can be wrapped into the impact fees. So you can recover the cost of the
Right.
study through your impact fees.
Oh, I see,
However,
that's right.
we did not budget for it.
Where
Right.
did I see 30,000?
Yeah,
And they proposed an estimate of probably around $30,000.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else to add?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, they're all good.
I'll give you my thoughts. So Raphtalis, excuse me, has done work in Jackson, Casper, Laramie. Obviously, they have the staff and experience to handle this. Their optional task seems to be essential to it. It's similar to what the others are already providing. And they said it should be completed in 4 months. Sunrise Engineering, obviously, they've already done Afton and Thanes impact fees studies. They know our system, and they are already doing the water master plan for the state. So I think, especially with the recommendation from our public works director, I'm leaning more towards Sunrise, since they're already kind of dealing with our water system and working on that master plan. So
And did you say that that price, we thought, since some of the work is already being done with the study and that they have in their system, that is the discounted, their best estimate?
yeah, I think that's the best estimate. That's what their proposal is for. 27,800.
Where did you see some of the essentials that was already included?
Well, like, for example, this says part of their, sorry, let me go up
No,
here.
it's okay. I missed that. Was it under proposed scope?
Proposed scope of services, I think, let me see if I can get to the other.
Because I didn't see specifically something like
Yeah.
financial plan cash flow, or if there's a different wording that's similar.
Project, okay, so that's impact fee analysis, of course, that's in there. Task 3, that's the optional one. In the town, the meetings, I think I thought that it was optional task 3 and optional task 4. So I thought the last one was maybe
I
optional.
just see one
So-
optional, it says task 1, task 2, task 4, optional task 3.
Yeah,
That could be around $8,400.
financial cash flow analysis, yeah.
Right.
And let's just clarify, the total price on this one is 24,385.
What was Tischler versus, what was their total? 32,640,
Right.
and then Sunrise at 27,800.
27,800.
27,800, thank you.
What does anyone, what's the opinion on this optional task of the financial plan cash flow analysis?
I would think some of that could be wrapped up in their other analysis. But I do think generating a channel for cash flow is something that we'll have to consider no matter who we choose. So it is a plus that they offer that.
Let's just double check that.
Yeah, let's go through each one.
I'm gonna have to make this larger.
I know, it's the font too. Demand data, capacity.
Yeah, so this doesn't include the cash flow analysis.
Will you bring up the cash flow analysis one more time,
Yeah.
once you think everyone's done reading that one? We'll just quickly go again through what that is. Proposed capital projects. Forecast operations and maintenance.
I also think that we could probably ask any of them, any of the consultants to do this.
Okay,
And,
as long as they had experience in it
right,
prior. Identify the projects eligible for bond or state loans. State loans or grants that have been secured by the town.
technical memorandum summarizing results of financial plan alternatives. Yeah, so task 4, obviously, all 3 are going to be doing that. Do we have any thoughts on this cash flow analysis?
I agree. I think anybody would be able to do that for us. If they've
I
all
would
got
think so.
lots of experience and plenty of staff.
I would think so too. More than anything, I think they're all really, really similar. Obviously, they're all super experienced. They have all the experience in the world in doing this. And, I mean, it might literally come down to who we feel the most comfortable with. And if there was something that we wanted from any one particular that wasn't in this proposal, I'm sure we could ask for it and get pricing for it. And,
I was gonna say,
Move forward.
if Sunrise is the consensus, then we could reach out to them and ask them if they have experience and would be willing to include a separate task, à la carte, and
Yes.
see what that pricing would be.
okay. before we make any other decisions, I wanted to open it up for public comment. If anyone wanted to make a public comment, I would give you a couple minutes. Since Dan's gonna take us up, I'm gonna make sure that I'm fair for everybody.
Dan Scow, Planning and Zoning. The board had tasked Planning and Zoning to review all the impact fees. I've talked to each one of these engineering outfits. Raftillis, actually, that study that they want to do is across the board on everything you do on your infrastructure. Roads, water, sewer,
Right.
tap fees, R1, R2, all the way through. I've worked with them, they're good. But none of the other engineering outfits that I talked to had the language skills to talk about finance and understand it, or understood exactly how to get that money from the state,
Right.
how to get the money from other places. So I sent an email.
Yes, thank you, we
We
printed it
have,
out.
we have your
So,
recommendation.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks,
Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Um,
That's very good feedback.
Uh-oh, did he unplug us? No. You're gonna have to turn on the thing.
Off?
He probably turned it off.
Oh, there it goes.
Thanks.
Shay Scafidi. I think after I looked at him too, I'm kind of in the same vein. I think Sunrise, as much as, yes, they're boots on the ground. After I was on the master plan committee 2 years ago, it was super disappointing that I think we spent $30,000 to $50,000, and it was the most vanilla master plan I'd ever seen. And so I guess I feel like we are different than Thane and Afton. I think we are developing at a much faster pace. So I would prefer it's someone that's looking at impact fees across the board. And I think if Sunrise is doing this piece, I think having them do too many of the same starts to get tunnel vision. So in my opinion, I think we should go for a different firm that has a totally different insight on our valley, what money can be made, and things like that. So thank you.
Thanks, Shay.
Thanks, Shay.
Basically bring some new eyes to the table. Would everyone be open to basically picking two and having another open hearing and inviting them to come and ask
Sure.
those questions? Okay.
That's a great idea.
If everyone would be open to that, then I think we might end up doing that on the master plan as well.
Okay.
So, let's just take a quick straw poll. If you don't mind, do you agree with the Sunrise and, which is the one you had? Raftillis, okay. What do you think?
Yeah,
Same?
no, I'd definitely go for some more information.
Yep, same,
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
okay. Would you consider amending your motion and wording something?
Yeah. I'd like to amend my motion to move to, let's see, I'd like to amend my motion to move to a public hearing for our next council meeting, putting Sunrise Engineering and Raftillis moving forward, hearing from them, and making a decision at that meeting.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Any comments? With no further comments, all those in favor of said amendment, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. So the amendment carries. So now we're back to the original motion. Any other further comments?
I would welcome planning and zoning and our public works departments to participate or offer comments ahead of time. Any questions that come up in the process for that public hearing. I'd love to hear what all of our departments think.
Yeah, I think we'll have that opportunity to ask them as well and get their comments on the record, other than just they're already the
I'm sure
emails
there's-
that they've sent.
Right,
But,
there's gonna be questions they think of that we don't.
any other discussion on the motion on the table? All those in favor of the original motion, say aye.
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 I,
Opposed? None. Motion carries. So we'll invite them, Madam Clerk, to attend the meeting on the 19th. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that.
Yeah,
We have a
no,
lot of other things on the
We do,
agenda,
but that's okay.
Yeah, we'll just
We
be
may
here till
want-
midnight.
We may want to change it to a 6 o'clock start
We
time.
may have
That's
to.
a good idea.
So,
Okay.
And, yeah, may we
We'll
actually
work
just
through
do
it.
the hearing first?
yeah,
We'll work through that.
we'll work through it.
Okay, so next is let me get back to, sorry. Okay, now we're back to the master plan, which is a pretty important topic for us as well. I would entertain a motion to get it on the table.
Make a motion to award Town of Alpine a master plan and authorize Mayor Green to sign and manage the contract.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded, discussion. I would like to take basically the same approach towards this one. We have 6. Councilmember Burchard, do you mind starting again?
sure.
Thanks.
Okay, so after looking at all these, I think I was kind of leaning towards the Avenue. I like that they're working with Lincoln County on their master plan. I feel like it would be kind of a nice continuity through the valley if we worked together on it. And they're from Utah, so they're a little more geographically local, I guess. I looked at Guide. I guess I'm definitely leaning towards the companies that are more locally based. Guide is out of Jackson. They have employees that live in Alpine, which I really think would give them a little more perspective and interest in the project. But they didn't give us any kind of a timeline or a budget, which is kind of a problem. So we can't compare them to 5 other companies without having those things. So that was a little disappointing. I also liked Harmony. They're the ones out of, are they in? They're in Driggs. They're in Jackson and Driggs.
Yep.
I mean, other than that, I felt like they had a lot of the same interests in our community and what they wanted to build and what they wanted to do for us and how they wanted to keep us unique and, you know, celebrate our recreational opportunities. So I guess Avenue is the one that I feel strongly about.
Okay.
Okay. Should
Do
I
you
go
mind?
one by one? Yes,
Yeah.
okay. I'll go one by one. So Harmony, I did really like that they were helping Victor Driggs. I would have liked to have seen more experience outside of the area, and maybe that's something that we can reach out to them and ask what other city planning that they had. I know that a lot of times those particular cities can be characterized as one of their challenges is overflow for Jackson, and I think that Alpine has absolutely served that, and we really need our own unique identity. So for me, I would want them to be able to focus on Alpine as its own brand and vision. Peterson, I think it's called Peterson, they didn't really strike me as very unique. It didn't feel extremely personal, and it almost felt like they had copied and pasted some areas. I didn't feel like it was speaking directly to Alpine's unique challenges and needs.
I agree with that. It was very generic.
Yeah, I would have liked to see it fleshed out more. They seem to spend a lot on the staff experience.
Right.
Right, and I love examples. I think a lot of us are visual. Avenue, I liked their proposal. I think I almost had the opposite reaction as you, which is interesting. Having that Lincoln County economic development and transportation, it almost struck me, and this was just my personal experience, but it almost struck me as that dual agency in real estate. We allow dual agency, and so basically neither is your client, but you represent both. And so for me, I appreciate that they have a hand in what Lincoln County is going through, but I don't know if they could really, in my opinion, separate themselves enough, because at some point in time, I would think it's only human, it's gonna click that, well, is this good for the county? Does this fit into the county? I almost would like someone who was completely uninvolved but could look at a larger view. So, I think that was just more of my personal experience. We would need an Alpine First plan. Let's see, who was left? Guide, I didn't feel like had enough city planning experience, and their architects. I think there's a big difference between architectural planning and city planning. I think it would be the same dynamic as well. There'd be some Jackson influence. So really, I wanted to see more city planning, not as much architecture directed, and more civil engineering directed. Dover Colon Partners, I would say that was my second choice. I felt like I was reading very similar plans with Cushing Terrell. I think they both went, I was incredibly impressed that with a short amount of time, they were able to flesh out a very unique plan. They had a lot of public engagement at the start of the process. They mentioned that particularly. And then a lot of different vision boards, they called them, I'm gonna mispronounce this, charrette?
Sure.
Okay. I liked that they were being creative with community outreach, and of course, they had previously been engaged to do kind of a waterfront plan. They talked about some of the similar challenges that we have, retail opportunities, how does our existing infrastructure look for the future?
They've done work in Jackson.
They've done a lot of work locally, which I agree is very important. Some neighboring, Montana experience.
Yep.
And then my first, honestly, I think for me, just the heart of it spoke to me. It was Cushing Terrell, and I just felt like on almost every page, the approach they were taking, the community involvement, the planning, the challenges, the experience that they've had with not just Basalt, but with Ennis, with Whitefish. A lot of these towns and cities experience very similar challenges to us, transportationally, geographically. So for me, I very much felt like they were taking into account Alpine and how we needed our own unique identity. So I was very impressed with them.
Yep. What'd you think?
I agree with Emily on especially Dover Cole and Cushing. They're all really, the tons of experience and tons of work in the Mountain West. The third was probably Harmony, because over the hill. Peterson's the cheapest, but you don't always.
Well, they did
And they did our 06.
06, so it'd
Yeah.
almost be an update.
But these other guys got way better. I mean, just the presentation in this, it was very impressive. These guys are, Cushing Terrell's pretty expensive. There's no budget with Dover, but I bet they're also
No, we have a
expensive. But
budget.
I didn't.
Dover base was
I thought they,
155.5.
yeah, they were very
Expenses
similar.
was 14.5.
So you're looking, they're still,
170 range, is that what you
Yeah.
said?
and, yeah, the Harmony looked great too. These guys, I agree with Emily, they're more buildings. It's got some impressive,
For a guide,
yeah, impressive work, but I don't think it would, any more, town.
a little more planning.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, they're great, but I like this
Okay,
Yeah.
too.
what'd you think?
Kind of echo the same thing. As far as, I kind of kicked out Guide and Peterson, just more for the piecemeal and distance. I just felt that the others were a little more in it with where we're at. Cushing and Dover, they're definitely the powerhouse of the bunch, and they have it all. With Cushing, I think it was them that had Ennis.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
So that, for me, that was kind of the closest apples to, I don't know, oranges
And
kind of
Basalt,
thing.
too.
Basalt, I've looked into the Basalt, I've driven through Basalt, not quite the same. They did the whole corridor from Aspen to Basalt to Carbondale to, and that's a good corridor. It's not quite like Alpine.
Right.
But it's similar. but I don't think we could go wrong other than they're both potentially way over our budget. And so then I come to Harmony and Avenue. Harmony, I like, that they're in the region, local-ish, with Victor Driggs, Teton County, Idaho, Teton County, Wyoming, and Jackson. I like some of the work that they've done that I've seen, but it also comes over the budget, so I kind of rest on Avenue, where, one, it's under budget by 1,000 without the options. And then two, they're already working here. I've seen other plans that they've had. I talked to Amy, Amy's the Streets and Roads for the county. She's working with them. She had nothing but good things to say about the communication with them, the working relationship with them. And she sent me, they did comp plans for Big Springs, master plan backway, and then also for Fossil Basin. Because one of the things that did concern me on Avenue, and maybe that's what you get what you pay for, is they didn't have quite the flashiness of Dover and Cushing as far as graphics, until I went to these other sites and then went, oh, okay, yeah, they're filling that void, they know what to do. The staff kind of breaking down, so basically breaking down costs, team, meaning the team that will be on us, the overall experience of the firm, and then are they a regional? For me, it was a big deal of, I don't want to look like Colorado, I want to look like Wyoming, so that was kind of a big thing, and then referral, and so with that, Avenue kind of stood out for me.
What was the total budget for Avenue?
Avenue is 99,000, and then you had options, if they later put in, can be as high as 75
So about 175 with all the options.
with everything, yeah.
And it's
And
all,
then-
it's all a cart, though, you could basically pick and choose.
Right. And then Harmony was?
Harmony's base was basically 130, and then additions was 30. So 160. Cushing Terrell base was 115. Additions being up to 125, so a total of 250,000. And Dover base was 155.5 with expenses of 14.5,
Right.
so 170.
Cushing's the most expensive.
Potentially.
Potentially.
All of them
Looking
have
at Cushing, there's
different
some things that we could
Yeah.
definitely take out
think everything's
and look at for sure. But that's just kind of where I came.
Okay. So, of the six, three kind of rose to the top to me, and I really liked Dover, Cole, and Partners. I think, are they out of,
Florida.
They're out of Florida.
so,
But they have folks in Jackson, I believe.
And they would work with Nelson Engineering.
Yeah.
that's the other
right.
thing, that they would
That's
be
right, they
working
did
with a
mention that.
subcontractor,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
So maybe
Nelson.
they don't even have that person inside their firm. So I kind of took them out of my top three because of that. But the three that rose to the top for me are Harmony, Avenue Consultants, and Cushing Terrell. Harmony, you've already said this, but the work in Teton Valley, they have all the experience and staff. It might be a good value since they are so close, and we would be maybe saving some money on travel. Avenue Consultants, they're already working in the area with Lincoln County on the transportation master plan. I thought it was funny that on the proposal, they actually probably unknowingly had a picture of my house on the front, and they had the picture of the backside of my head in the later.
Oh, I
part.
noticed that.
In my head.
So, yeah,
the
well, Monica
backside.
was in it too. So I think that was planned. Nice try. Of course, they have all the experience and staff as well. And I also liked that they pointed out that one of the optional tasks was an active transportation chapter. And this is pretty much what we're talking about in the Lincoln County Transportation Master Plan, is basically the active transportation, riding your bike, walking, all those things. And that's so important to our area for one, but all of our residents and like I said, it's already kind of being looked at through Lincoln County as well. But the one that rose to the top, I guess I'd put him number one, would be Cushing Terrell for me. They already have extensive experience in Montana and Colorado. They're kind of working in the area. I really did like the Basalt master plan. I went through that one as well.
Yeah,
But the thing that I thought really differentiated them is they have the director of affordable housing literally on the staff.
yes.
So, I went to their website for that Aspen Lumberyard Affordable Housing, and it was like, page after page of all the information on this, affordable housing that they have taken from the ground up, done everything on it. And I think that we could use that as a roadmap for the future. And, maybe down the road, we'll see what happens through the master plan, but we might have an opportunity to use town land for affordable housing down the road. So that was kind of the one thing that I thought really differentiated them. Of course, all of them would do an amazing job, in my opinion. We'd be very lucky to take any of them on. I also want to point out that we've had some correspondence with local community members, and specifically regarding the funds that are still left in the Alpine Community Foundation
Right.
Fund, I guess, which, Madam Clerk, we have around $44,000 left in that?
Correct.
Okay. So, we have authorization from them, which we really don't even need because they're town funds. But those funds were set aside or given to the town to use for EMS, the fire, and also some of that money went to the hospital or the clinic. Of about $250,000 that was given, there's about 44 left. So I would like to suggest that we use that money to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit and maybe allow us to pick some of these added details that we think are important and utilize them, because we're doing this now, and we're gonna start saving money every year so we can redo it every 5 years. But in my opinion, we kind of need to hit this one out of the park because we want it to be spot on and really accurate for the way the town is growing in the direction that we're going.
Right.
So I would definitely be interested in sweetening the pot a little bit with those funds. I don't know. Does anyone else have any comments or on sweetening the pot a little bit and using
No, I
those funds?
completely agree, because I think that there are gonna be things, they're taking just a little bit of information and trying to flesh it out of our particular needs as much as they can, but I'm sure there's gonna be things that we can take away, things that the community can get involved and take off their plate, especially if it comes to community engagement, and then things that we don't anticipate. So I'd like to have a little bit of a cushion
A cushion? Cushion?
there.
Freudian slip.
It is my first choice. No, I think that's good. And I know that we've had some incredibly generous pledges, and I think that it would be nice to find a way that we could get the community engaged and just have an open, whatever is a legal way of doing it, but an open way that any community member can, go ahead and make a donation towards this, because I'm trying not to focus too much on the price tag, which is not my usual MO at all, but I really think that we can't afford to not choose the best.
Yeah.
This is kind of a once in a,
And just to be clear, for budgetary purposes, you budgeted $100,000 in this fiscal year. Without examining specifically which one you're going to get in the timeline, it's not going to be complete by June 30th. And so we do have some flexibility of budget, because we can push money into next year's budget and look at it from that perspective.
okay.
Most of them were a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was one that I can't remember what, it was a little shorter, but most of them were.
I,
That's kind of where I'd
yeah,
kind of steer is, for me, let's keep it on the town, let the community fund do what that's supposed to do. Well, we've got the 100,000 for this year, let's plan for, because it is at least 9 months, I think was the quickest one. Most of them were 12, but plan on it for next year's budget for 25, 26 as well.
So we would have to talk to them if there's some add-on things we wanted to do. We would have to say, like,
Right,
we'll have to adjust our budget during the budget season?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, for 25, 26, so In the case of Avenue, they're 99,000, that's within
Well,
our
that's a
budgets,
no-brainer,
that's set. If they have, or if we want to go to options, then we just let them know, okay, there's no options right now, this is a base. However, as the process goes, we
Once-
have budgetary meetings April, May, and June. We'll
Once
look
we
at
get
it.
deeper into it, we might start adding on some
Right,
more tasks.
Yep.
Is what you're suggesting.
exactly.
Okay. How do you feel?
Same.
Okay.
I said we'll have plenty of money if we split it up between the two budgets, this year and next year.
Okay. What are your thoughts on using the community fund?
Let's hold off on it unless we need it.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like we'll be all right if we.
Well, we'll have a little cushion
Yeah.
above the 100,000 if
Yeah.
we need to move into another year.
For sure.
Right.
'Cause it
I-
won't.
Yeah, I still like having the option. I think
No,
that's
no,
imperative.
I think,
business.
I think we can hold it to the end,
Yeah.
because I would like to keep it available for other community events and options,
Okay.
as originally intended, and try to keep this on the town
Okay.
within our budget. But yeah, where we get to, look at the funds again during budget season, that.
Okay. So what about some of
Fundraise
them?
in between.
What about some of them that were on?
Is there
you-
any
You
ones
have
we
the
can take
numbers.
off?
So Avenue was 100. What was Harmony? 150?
Harmony's base was 130, essentially,
Oh.
129.77.
Yeah,
And then their additions was $30,005, so a total of 159.82. And then Cushing's base was 115, with additions going up 125, with a total of 250. And then.
Avenue's original was.
Avenue's
under 100.
original is 99,
Yeah.
and then options essentially 75, 74,375.
Okay. I worry a little bit about, I'll be the one negotiating this contract and going to them and say, okay, we've got 100. Let's do the 100, and then by the middle of next year, we might want to add on some
Right.
stuff. But that's all up in the air, whether or not we are going to be able to get the budgetary.
I think that'll come in phases, though. I mean, if you look at
Yeah,
every
they're all-
other example from every single proposal,
They're all broken down. into
they're all
phases.
broken
Yeah.
down, and then it depends on.
And the options usually come phase 2,
Right.
phase 3, phase
Right.
4.
And I mean, again, I think part of like Cushing's additional budget, when they talk about community engagement, they say.
Well, they like included
They like,
a
I mean,
website and all this stuff.
5,000 total data points.
Yeah.
So we are just not gonna be there.
Right.
And then my question too is, depending on whomever we go with, timeline. Like if, I was like, great, 9 months to 12 months, so do we start that immediately, December? Or is it better to start it, say, in February or March? That way, weather dependent, are we gonna get more of a bang for a buck if we're delaying it a little bit? So
I
they're
think where
not
the
coming out
community
here in
would
the
be
winter
here,
when
right.
it's, I mean, they need to see winter
Right.
here for sure.
Right.
But,
But maybe a March.
Maybe
yeah,
start
kind of a timeline.
So maybe those are some of the questions we could ask them in the open hearing and make sure that we are covering all of our bases.
And I like the idea of a year. I certainly don't want our community to feel rushed. This is a momentous decision. I want to give certain phases more time, should they need that. But I think around a year is probably a pretty viable timeline.
I think we need to ask them. Most of them had the kind of a 1 year timeframe, and they could start right away.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to affect the amount of community interaction we get just
Right.
because we started in the winter. Because it seems like a lot of the community involvement happens early. But we should, those are some of the questions we should ask them for sure. Is there an advantage to starting in the spring?
Yeah, I mean, for us, might be getting snowbirds back a
Right.
little earlier, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and even, some of them, they put their timeline in the proposals as starting this month, but is that realistic? Are they
Right.
really gonna be able to jump on it
Right.
right now?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Being patient with them.
yeah.
would be
And
helpful.
also, I wanted to point out, as Sue said in her email, all the proposed fees are fairly competitive, but please know that everything is negotiable.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I think,
Sue.
I think it's going to be kind of pick and choose the things. Maybe we can save a little bit of money. As
Well,
you
and if there's
suggested.
ones from others, we can pull and,
Like, yeah, if there's
we
things
can
we
really
like
draw
how it's-
on what we like.
yeah.
We love how they did this. Let's implement that.
Could you go
Should
over
we
your
do
top
top
three again?
You liked Avenue.
I liked Avenue
Mhm.
and Harmony,
Mhm.
and I guess I would say Cushing, Terrell.
Okay.
Avenue, Harmony, Cushing.
Yeah, my top three are very similar to hers. Mine was Cushing, Terrell, and Harmony, and I'd say Dover Cole.
Okay. And
Avenue, Cushing, and Harmony.
Avenue, Cushing, Harmony,
Avenue, Harmony, Cushing.
Avenue, Cushing. It's all different. And then my top three is Harmony, Avenue, Cushing. So that means Harmony, Avenue, and Cushing would be our top three.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion to invite the three of them to a,
Should we
Open
do
hearing.
this separate? It feels a little like that might need its own.
Yeah, it's
Do
a
you
meeting.
agree?
so maybe,
Yeah.
maybe push it to December? Would you
Yeah.
like that?
That
Yeah.
sounds fair.
Grab all that in.
Or January?
Yeah, I agree, December.
Okay, December meeting?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do
so
impacts
open
first.
hearing in December. We'll do the impact fee in
Well,
November.
and I think,
Okay,
I'd say if we could just give our 2 cents, she is correct. December's very busy.
it is.
And I also think turnout for this, you brought up a very good point. I would like the community to be involved with it if possible.
So
Do we have
what are you
thoughts on that?
suggesting?
Maybe January?
Would January be
Just
better?
because
time?
we're already talking about like wanting to start in the spring.
Right,
So if we had a hearing in January, because I think it's too, like,
and it's the holidays
it's
too.
the holidays, everybody's
Mhm.
gonna be so busy.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to put people out on.
No, I really like that suggestion. I think
Yeah, me
January is a
too.
solid choice. All the holidays are over.
Yeah.
When is the meeting in January?
It is. I can probably tell you. Yeah, so we get it right. It should be the 21st.
21st.
Okay,
7th and the 21st.
yep.
Okay.
I'm leaving on vacation.
Oh, well, let's make sure Monica's here.
I
So
mean,
we're-
what if we use our
Workshop?
January?
That works
workshop?
out great.
Yeah.
January
January
workshop.
workshop.
Yeah.
So January 7th?
Yeah. I think.
Oh, for the work?
Yeah, to have, to invite the master plan.
That
Okay,
way, if we
perfect.
have questions in the meantime,
And then we can make the decision at the January meeting.
yeah,
That's perfect.
okay.
No, that works out really
That gives
well.
all of us time to reach back out to them as
Yeah,
well.
that works
without
out well.
Feeling crunched. Okay,
Councilman Larson,
so-
would you like to amend your original motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to amend my motion to move forward Harmony Designs and Engineering, Avenue Consultants, Cushing Terrell, for a public hearing on our June 7th workshop.
January.
Or, excuse me, January 7th workshop. I'm already over the snow, apparently.
You're fine.
For the Alpine Master Plan discussion.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the amendment?
January 7th.
All those in favor of said amendment, say aye.
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 Opposed? None. So back to the original motion. I think that timing will work out good. We won't wait till June, like you suggested. We'll try to keep it moving forward in January, and then hopefully our goal would be to make the decision at the January town council meeting.
Okay.
Does that sound good for everybody? Okay. All those in favor of said updated motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, so we have a plan. Excited about that. At this point, I would open it up for public comment, if anyone's stuck around for public comment.
Mr. Mayor, is the,
Brent, will you come up to the microphone for us?
is the public?
Please come up to the mic.
Hi, Brent Jacobs, Alpine resident. I just had a question.
Yes.
Is the workshop open to the public?
Yes,
course.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad we got that on there,
Thanks,
because people, I'm sure, at home are wondering. There's 16 people at home, right?
36.
Oh.
Oh.
Any other
Big day.
comments? Patricia has something she would like to impart on us. She's gonna.
Trish McQuaid. I live on Columbine Street. This is not about the master plan, although I'm happy that that's in progress. And it looks like the schedule's busy, but I'm wondering about the lease for the charter school. And when that is going to be on the agenda, I'm concerned about, or I'm interested in how much land you're talking about giving away, for how long, and is there any compensation? So is that going to be on the agenda at any point that the public gets to discuss?
Yes, the
Okay,
answer is yes, and
So-
remind me, did we put it on the December work session?
Yes.
Okay.
So the council is preparing a list based on their letter of intent individually, not as a group. They're going to send me their individual concerns, because as you know, in the letter of intent, there was a broad brush of things that they wanted to see from the charter school
Right.
board. And
well,
so,
I know there was like 23 acres mentioned.
yeah.
And
And so-
when I had a little
Yeah.
discussion with Jeremy about the length, he kind of talked about the fire department, which has a 100-year lease. So I'm hoping we're not, going to that
Yeah.
length.
So our plan is, though, that I will then I will take duplicates out and prepare one letter to the organization that the letter of intent indicated that we would, the town council would consider entering a lease into. I will present that to them in advance of the meeting so they can come to the work session prepared to have
Okay.
conversations. And just as a reminder, work sessions, there is no decisions made.
Correct.
It's just a conversation, it's an opportunity to really vet concerns, and then from that point, the council will decide when and if they want it on an agenda.
Okay, but there's public
Yes.
comment.
Absolutely.
Our goal is for the public to have as many
Absolutely.
opportunities as
Okay.
possible.
Yes.
And December work session would be the first one, and I know Dave's here, and we've talked during, when we did the letter of intent about some of the things, but I encourage everyone, thank you for bringing that up, encourage everyone to email the clerk, so we have kind of our list of questions, concerns, things, so they're prepared at that meeting to answer questions from us and the public.
Yeah, and if the public has any concerns, I recommend that you email your
Yes.
council members, because I cannot take public
Yeah.
questions and add them to this list. They can take concerns and questions and ask me to add them to the
We
list.
should probably put an alert.
So the venue to get it on as a concern would be through town council members, please.
And we do have a deadline for that.
Yep.
We need to submit, our council needs to submit individually all of our questions and concerns to our clerk by November 13th.
Correct.
So,
So you have
Well-
about a week to get those.
Actually, it was the 19th, right? It was the
no,
day
you
of the
said
meeting.
there was a prior
We-
deadline.
Oh, was that the week prior? Okay.
Yeah, we submit them to you by the 13th, you'll have them to.
That's right, so I can get it to them 2 weeks ahead. Thank you.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a good thing somebody does.
Maybe there's a way that we can make that a little bit more public as well. So that's a whole week that our community has to, just
can-
their initial questions.
I can ask Melody to post something online that if people have specific concerns about the lease
And the land.
to reach, and the land and all of
I
that, to
think
reach
what
out to
I
you.
would recommend is we need to get, for one, we probably have a newsletter that needs to go out soon, but we get a Facebook post.
Okay.
We announce it, the meeting's on the 12th, and, we recommend if
Okay.
anyone has any concerns, bring it to town council via email or whatever. I guess they could do a written, mail us a comment before the 13th or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just send
Okay.
us, if anyone needs
I
our
thought
email addresses, it's all on our website.
Because the workshop date is December 6th.
Correct.
Okay. Do we feel like that's enough time?
I think 2 weeks is plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 weeks is the time that.
They
that-
have.
That they will have to
Right.
get,
December 3rd. Okay.
say it again,
December 3rd.
is the work session?
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, we'll have, one more time to clarify. By the 13th, town council will have our questions and concerns to Monica, and she will get it to the charter board by the 19th. And then they will have a couple weeks to get their ducks in a row with. our
Yeah, to
questions,
either
concerns.
answer questions or come up with a plan to communicate how they're going to answer your concerns.
Yep,
That's,
and then we'll
The plan.
have our work session on the on the 3rd of December, clear as mud, right? Okay.
But if the public I just want to make sure we give the public a lot of time to prepare their
They're gonna
questions.
have lots of time. That's plenty of time. I think 2 weeks is plenty of time.
They have 1 week,
We have
Yeah.
1 week.
1 week.
That's,
I think a lot of the questions will probably be the same, like, how long is the lease?
Right.
How much land?
Right.
I mean-
What are the terms? What's the building gonna be like? Who's gonna own the building? You know, I think
Yeah.
we'll probably be able to answer all the questions.
and to be honest, we've already heard a lot of concerns.
Yeah.
So we've been hearing concerns for 6 months or more. So if there's any further new concerns, of course, we'll be open to hearing them. But, yeah, I think that's plenty of time.
Okay.
But that's not the end all be all.
No,
We'll,
that's
we'll,
one discussion.
That's a start.
yeah, so we might have several discussions about that, and this may go on for months. So, we need to keep doing our due diligence, so. Any other public comment? Yes. Yeah, please.
So I've been going to the county planning and zoning meetings, and I just wanted to share with anyone watching, Ken Koluski's the new planning guy, the fourth one in 5 years.
Yep.
So we're wishing him well. But the traffic study, I wanted to let you know, that night he handed us packets. Only 120 people out of 20,000 have filled out a traffic study. So you might want to reach out
Yes.
and get it on the website, because Ken is desperate. They don't have data to work off of. And then second, I just want people to know, they're about to pass the largest storage unit in all of Lincoln County, 200 plus in Etna, and about 150 to 200 more homes. And YDOT is not enlarging our road in 28. They don't even have a date for it. So I do think traffic and development.
Which road?
The road, I apologize, the road from Etna to Thane has no date as of today. So I think what we're facing is 200 more homes, how much more traffic? So the traffic study is huge to let the county know to maybe take a breather.
Right.
There's just no infrastructure, and towns are taking the brunt of these decisions: fire, medical, groceries. And so just people, November 13th in Afton, you can talk to the commissioners via Zoom when they decide on passing storage units and 96 homes.
And then Thane has a new large.
Thane is getting
development as well.
200 lots. I didn't get all the details on that yet. But again, I think we're doing our master plan. We need an overlay of this valley. It's really a lot.
There was an article today with the mayor of Thane on SVI.
Okay, I will
About
look it
that.
up.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I
Thank
would
you.
definitely say on those specific things, read those articles, but reach
Yeah.
out to the mayor if you have any questions about
Oh, I
the
did.
benefits.
Yep.
of
Devin's, yeah,
the
he'll be happy
plan.
to help.
I know that the mayor is definitely super excited about it, because they are going to be able to tie into their infrastructure and help pay for it. But also, they're going to, it'll take a long time, but they will be increasing the amount of people in the town, which brings in more tax revenue and all those same things that we're having to deal with ourselves.
I know. I just am not sure.
That all goes back
The
to the
infrastructure
traffic
may not
study.
be there.
Right.
So I guess
Well,
we'll just wait and see.
Let them find that.
I will let them
They're-
know. Yeah.
Those questions will be answered for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would, find out about that traffic survey, because he's desperate for
We need to
numbers.
get that out for sure, and thank you for telling us that, because
you.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it.
you weren't aware of it? Oh.
No,
That was probably my fault that I
that's
didn't
okay.
tell you about.
That's okay.
No, but that's definitely something that we need to get out there, because they are looking for people to fill out the survey.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, and
we
it's
can email it
reminding
and text it.
everyone in Alpine that everything that happens in the valley directly affects us.
Yeah.
So.
any other public comments? Yeah, please. I'm putting you on the clock though, Megan.
Oh, thank you. Hey there, Megan Ramsey. So I have reached out to a couple council members who've never answered an email to me. So I'm hoping that if the folks that I have emailed who've never replied would be willing to reply, that would be great regarding the school. And then I also wanted to ask, as far as meetings go with the school, is there already an elected board other than the application board, or where are we at with that?
Great question.
I don't know if I have all the answers. We could ask Dave if he had the answers, if he'd be willing to tell us, but in
Yeah.
general, I think they, they do not have a formal board yet,
Correct.
and they hope to have that in place soon. And when that does happen, then they will be required to have public meetings.
Okay. And if there is a meeting that's happening, it will be announced how?
Well, for one, they're still a private board, and they don't have to have any public meetings, they don't have to invite the public, they don't have to do anything. When they do formalize and become a public board, that's when they will make sure that everyone knows about it, but they are not required to invite the public. Of course, as always, you're more than willing to email the people that you know that are on the current board. I'm sure they would accept your comments. But until they formalize, then they're not required to invite the public.
Okay. And are we able to get the names of all of those individuals and the public contact information for those individuals to reach out?
I don't know if it needs to be made public. That's, again, a private board.
Sure.
And they're not required to share that information. But you probably already know some of the people that are on the board, and I would encourage you to keep reaching out to those people if you know people that are on the current board.
For those folks that I might not know are on the board, is there a way to just get a list and get their emails and
I
their
would
phone
reach out
numbers?
to Dave, and he will provide you whatever, if he's able, he'll give you whatever information you're looking for.
Perfect. And then the other question, was there some surveying of the land that was going on over there by the riverbank?
All I know is that, I think Sherville started to put some of their markers down on the ground in preparation for doing a survey. I don't know if it was our ground, someone else's ground, but as far as I'm concerned, yeah, they're just putting some flags down on the ground, so.
Okay, and I was also concerned about the letter from LUCTA, I guess you guys refer to them as the CDC, and what their plans may be for their expansion and whether or not they've outlined where they would like to expand to.
Yep, so that's part of this whole discussion as well. We need to look at, the library wants to expand,
Yep.
the CDC wants to expand. It's a goal of mine to have a daycare, other than the daycare using our building. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to build them a building on our own town land that would solve a big issue that we have. So those are all the things that are going into this very large conversation about where to put the school going forward, if it's going to be on school land or whatever, so.
Sure, I'm just trying to shorten my email to you, so I appreciate this feedback because it will be a long email. And then the other thing is the Mercer study, can you clarify, was it canceled? Was it triggered? Where are we at with that?
It's my understanding that it was canceled because of a clerical error. And supposedly, from what I gather, that during the Mercer study, they had Aetna in as K through 3 instead of 4 through 6. And so it messed up the algorithm or something. And so basically, they just kicked it out and said, we'll have to start over. So the Mercer study that was in place and started has ended, and I would think it's their intention to start a new one and get it done right.
And who might we talk about that with?
So you need to email directly the Lincoln County School
Matt
Board.
Erickson?
He would be a great person to start with, and then all of the people, that are on the school board, you could email them as well.
Perfect.
So
Thank you very much.
Allison.
Yes, perfect.
All right, thank you.
Megan.
Any other comments, questions? Fastest meeting ever. This is crazy. Well, that's all I had. Thank you, everybody.
Make
I
a
would
motion to
entertain-
adjourn.
Oh,
Second.
Second.
we have a motion. It's been seconded. All those in favor say
Aye.
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 All right, thank you.